Hey all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm here with Thomas.
Hello, everybody.
Today we have so many video game things to discuss. We had 3 events over the weekend, and Thomas is going to share with us everything from IGN Live. He was on the floor. But before we get started into it too far, I just want to get a quick impression of how IGN did with their first in-person event. How'd you like it?
Oh man, I think for their first one ever, they crushed it.
Yeah.
I mean, from that first day we got in there, was so hyped. It was really cool how they did the entrance. You know, you walk down this lighted tunnel basically, and you get your badges, and it opens up to these flashing lights. And then right off to the side, there's the main stage. And like I said, from the second we got in there, was giveaways. People were freaking out. I mean, the whole time it was like a rock concert. It was like Harry Styles was performing because so many prizes were getting thrown out. So yeah, they did a fantastic job for their first event.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So if you guys go into the description, we have timestamps for everything. We're going to save IGN Live for the end, but we're going to start off with Xbox. We're getting right into it today. They actually aired the Xbox event at IGN as well, and you got to talk to, or you got to meet, you got to see Phil Spencer. Let's clarify.
Yeah. That's been insane. I got to meet him, but I was, pretty like 10 feet away from him. So I was pretty close. Absolutely. But because I was waiting for him and I thought he was going to be at one time, I kind of missed the showcase in the room, but I heard, I heard a ton of reactions from it. And oh my gosh, people were floored. Like Xbox brought it. The hype for Xbox around the whole event was so real. People were so pumped. So which ones stood out to you?
So many, but I think the 2 that I would have to really hang my hat on, I mean, it's really a lot, but it's going to be that Doom, the Dark Ages, first of all, which is it's kind of been rumored this is like medieval Doom. You're not sure what that would even look like, but it somehow still feels very much Doom while being like a shield that has a chainsaw on it. And so like all the crazy things you could say is exactly that. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks sick. I was never a Doom player. I know that it has this crazy cult following. People love it. When I was growing up a kid, I was like, that's Satan's work. And, I couldn't play that. But like, things have changed. I play Diablo now. So, but some of the shots that you called out from the trailer, that shield that, is motorized, you can block things with it and throw it out and kill people with it. It's just, it looks wild and not something I would normally be into, but it looks incredible. I want to get it.
The nice thing about Doom is it's one of those games where you can just kind of shut your brain off. When Elder Scrolls, I'm sure everybody loved, I'm sure it's great. I'm not good enough to beat it. So then it really puts a gate on that one. But this one, I could throw it on easy mode if I want to and just like randomly shoot things in any direction, and it's fun to just jump into. And so the idea that they're, tweaking that world even more is really fun.
Yeah, the skull in that gun just getting ground up and turned into bullets. I was like, that's pretty sick. That's what a concept.
I know, and that's exactly it. Like, can we make something ridiculous? Yeah, sure. Let's just do that. And that's gonna be cool. And I can't wait to see like if you fight dragons and stuff like that. Let's just see how medieval we get. Even his armor is a mix of the old Doom guy armor plus it's got like a visor that would come down and spikes on the shoulders. Everything that would be the Black Knight rolling in to fight demons in this new castle. That's cool.
Sick. Awesome.
Gears of War fans finally have a new game on the way. It's actually a prequel to the franchise, Gears of War E-Day. Gears of War is one of those games where at first, when it first came out, I wasn't a huge fan of it because it pioneered the over the shoulder. It took a while to get used to that. And now that that's so standard and I've gotten very used to it, great games. And I'm going to be replaying the franchise here very soon. And so it's good to see a prequel coming out that's going to look clean on Unreal Engine 5. Did you have a chance to watch this trailer?
Yeah, not the whole trailer, but I have a lot to say about Gears of War. It has to be my second favorite Xbox franchise. What got me into Xbox was Halo. I loved the Halo series, played it very competitively. But then after that, it was Gears of War. And Gears of War, like single-handedly got me into third-person shooting action games. I loved it. I loved the whole chainsaw gun. I loved Phoenix. Like the story, I was so into it. I remember, I think it was like Gears of War 2, where they had the Mad World song playing over it with the instrumentals. Oh my, I watched the crap out of that trailer back in the day, and it got me in the feels and like just pumped kind of way, So I was stoked, and it makes sense to bring back this franchise to Xbox.
In our top 5 video game trailers, that made number 2. Is that trailer specifically with that song underneath it? And number one was Halo 3, when it was all like, looks like action figures, and it was like panning over the action figures, and then it goes to Master Chief, and he just like looks up with a bomb in his hand. It starts glowing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Nice.
Yeah.
But phenomenal trailers. Because the Gears of War one, I think it's like him like dropping down into like the darkness and there's only light shining on him or something. And
He's
then
he's just walking down a street of what looks like an abandoned place, and then you hear the song really does like lean into the loneliness, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the locusts are right over there. It's coming in.
Yeah. But that was one of the first games I actually played like online, before it was just LAN parties for me. So this was the first where I was like just playing with people online. And dude, I obsessed over that game. I loved it. I'm so stoked. And like crazy enough, that might be the game that makes me buy this new Xbox. Yeah. Because I want to play it so bad. When you watch this trailer fully and have it, because it's hard when you're at an event to watch trailers, I definitely feel that. But when you get to sit, now pay attention to the soundtrack in the background. I'll give you that hint right now. Yeah, I heard there's a little. That was the order button right there. when they bust that song out again, I was just like, son of a bitch. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, that makes me so excited. There's movie possibilities. I want to say with Dave Bautista writing so hard for Gears of War, massive Dave Bautista fan, and then Phil Spencer also talked about the Fallout success and how that might spawn another video game too. He's like, I'm not promising anything, but he's like, what is his name? Todd Howerton, the guy he's in charge of Fallout, but also helped with the series. He was saying that he's very aware of the success of the show and how there should probably be a game to kind of, ramp people up along with the show. So dude, there's so many possibilities here. Yeah, which means New Vegas, which is where they're heading for season 2. So that's exactly what everybody would want. That's really good. And not that Fallout 76 hasn't really had a second dawn and is doing really well. And they're releasing more content. They actually released content yesterday night for it. So that's really cool. Yeah. But there's all kinds of stuff coming out with, I think, Vault 73 or something like that. So 60, something like that, maybe. But yeah, very nice. Awesome. Yeah. Dave Bautista, by the way, like perfect casting. Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. And the guy wants to do it. He makes his own suit. Like if you YouTube it, like there's things like he pulls out a chest with his own armor, like custom fit for him. He's like, I want to do this. So come on, Xbox, come on, freaking. What's the studio behind Gears of War? I'm like, Blake, I know I asked you like a deep. Oh gosh, that man, nobody would know. Yeah, but shoot, I don't remember. I know it's on Unreal Engine 5. Oh, the Coalition. Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Nice. Good pull. Yeah, I think, man, they should pull success for what they've seen from Fallout and just do that and get Bautista while he's in great shape and can do it. Because, man, I would watch the crap out of the show. Like I'm going to play the crap out of this game. I would be day one. That'd be so good. Yeah. Right. One of the bigger announcements, I would say, what they're really leading the event with was their Call of Duty Black Ops 6 announcement. It's coming October 25. It's going to be set in the 90s this time. We're stepping it up a little bit. Now, Call of Duty hasn't really been hitting hard for me these last few years, but this one, being that it's on Game Pass day one, is a big plus. Not only are they confirming that it's on Game Pass day one, it's also going to be on all platforms, which I think is kind of, I mean, like, if I'm going with the really optimistic, I believe the Xbox pitch, it shows that they're making sure it's really inclusive to all gamers and that they have all their options to be able to play one of those staple games. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I loved it. Phil Spencer brought it up himself. He was like, you know, just because we own that company, we realize that so many other people play it on different consoles and different platforms. Like, why we can't take that away? And he's like, our true belief. And again, this is, corporate talk, but I loved it. He was like, games should be played by everybody everywhere. And so he's like, we'll put it on PlayStation if we need to. And there we are. So, yeah, I'm stoked about it. I'm not necessarily a Call of Duty person, but I respect the fan base. I respect what they built with that franchise. It does look pretty cool. That whole 90s scenario, I think, sounds pretty sick. The 90s are so back right now, right? One of the main hosts for the IGN event came out in these Jinko jeans and like a backwards fitted hat. Yeah, it was hilarious. So it was full 90s. I think Call of Duty, I think people were really excited about it. I really got the sense that at IGN Live, people were like super stoked about this and have faith that it's going to bring it back to what the franchise was. Yeah, I'm hoping that it kind of revitalizes my interest in Call of Duty, which has been slipping. I will say the campaign is going to be big. The game is going to be 300 gigabytes to download, which
insane. Yeah,
That's a big boy. Yeah.
that's a big
Wow.
boy.
Yeah.
But I definitely will be playing it. The fact that it's on Game Pass is such a big deal because it really, I think, gives Game Pass that staple game they need to make sure that people stay subscribed and for a long term. That's a good move
Yeah.
right there.
Definitely.
We've got two more games I really want to talk about from Xbox. The next one we'll go quickly over is Fable. Fable is one of those franchises. If you're an old school Xbox fan, you're a big Fable fan. It's from Rare, and it's amazing mix of RPG and humor. And seeing that they have not missed either of those aspects in this future game has me very excited for this. They keep doing this thing where they showcase a new character every time that just feels like, why don't I have like a storybook about this guy? Like, and this one was Humphrey,
Right.
this random dude that taught our main protagonist, and the last one was this giant that was like a vlogger. But did you have a chance to watch this Fable? Have you played Fable in the past too?
No, so I never got into Fable, but I know that there's a massive following for this, and people wanted a new addition to it. From the clips I did see of it at IGN, it looks pretty fun. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like it reminds me a little bit of Baldur's Gate in a sense of like there are choices to it, but I know it's not. Is it not turn based? Like, can you break down?
No, it's definitely not
the
turn based.
gameplay?
It's actually a very loose RPG. It's actually kind of crazy enough. Ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Where you're running around swinging, but you're able to like press a button to activate different spells and a different button to activate other spells. So it's all about like fast-paced hack and slash with a slew of spells that if you could remember all your things, you could really kind of unleash everything. But meanwhile, like if you talk fancy enough to anybody in the game, you could take them and marry and buy a little house in town.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my favorite aspects of the very first game is like in your hometown, if you accidentally kick a chicken, the entire game you're referred to as chicken killer or chicken kicker or whatever.
Chicken kicker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
it's a very humorous game, and it's such a wide, sprawling world that feels almost like Shrek, but a little toned down. It's a blast to be in.
That's pretty cool. I feel like you sold me on Fable. Yeah, that sounds a lot of fun.
If you're an RPG fan at all, I can't suggest it enough. It's an old school franchise.
Very nice.
And then lastly, talking about old school franchises, this one's being brought back as well, Perfect Dark. The original Perfect Dark was a follow-up to 007 GoldenEye on the N64, and it's from Rare. It's one of those franchises that people have been clamoring for. We finally got some visuals on this, and it has the thriller aspect that we all wanted, but also adds some parkour to it, which is very Mirror's Edge of them. Something that Xbox, frankly, did not have any connection to. So the fact that they have their own version of Mirror's Edge now is just benefiting the fandom, you know?
Yeah, again, and then from the clips I saw that too, it looks incredible. I love the parkour element. It kind of had what was that game that came out? And it was like Zombie World. I'm drawing a blank right now. But
I know what
was
you're talking about. That Dead by Daylight, maybe? I think it's that one.
Yeah, something like that. It's something like that. But
So
that was a
many
really
games.
fun game. But
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be smoother. I feel like it's going to work better on the Xbox. It's more adapt to that console. And there again, just the chatter that I could hear from the floor, people were super hyped about this one. So I think it's going to be a pretty successful game, and hopefully it's as smooth as it looks.
Yeah. So let's close out our Xbox exploration with figuring out what is your number one game you're most excited for out of Xbox.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be Gears of War.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
It's just, seeing young Phoenix and a young Dom and how, the war started for them. I mean, that's because I feel like the only thing is that one day these aliens invaded and then like everything went to hell. And then it's decades later, maybe with Phoenix, and you're just trying to survive. You're trying to, make that one last ditch effort to save humanity. And I don't know. So what about it makes it your favorite that you're looking forward to?
It feels so Xbox in a really weird way where it's like, this is what we've been waiting for from Xbox. They felt like they were trying to lean in on cloud gaming so much. And even Game Pass, which I am a big fan of, they were leaning in on them so heavily that it was like, you guys forgot that to compete, I know that console wars is kind of stupid, but to compete really in this world, you need to have exclusives that are cool. Gears of War is one of those big staple titles. I think Doom is going to become one. Halo definitely is. And then also looking at the RPGs too, which was really high for me, is like Avowed showed off more footage, which is one of those games that I am for sure playing. And of course, Fable and stuff like that, which I think those are that Western RPG market is something that Xbox, I think, ignores for the most part. PlayStation ignores, and Xbox has always thrived on. That's why Skyrim, I think, always plays best on Xbox, things like that. They really specialize. While the JRPGs, of course, are best on Sony. So I think that's where it lays out there. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. And I agree. I think there's some games that just work better on Xbox, and Gears of War is definitely one of those games.
Yeah. Let's move over to Summer Game Fest. Now, there was a slew of games, and literally on our website have every single game announced at Summer Game Fest up there with their trailer. So check it out, guys, if you want to. But let's just hit a couple of our highlights on this one. I'll start off with one that kind of blew me out of the water because it was been rumored, and to see it actually in place, Sid Meier's Civilization 7 is coming in 2025. This is one of those games where immediately I started texting my friends and said, hey guys, there's going to be a week in next year where everybody's going to take off for work, and we're just going to play Civs. This is a game that will take 12 hours to play, but you will not leave your seat. It's that good.
Wow.
It's that addictive. It's crazy how addictive this game is. And I can't wait to see what the next generation of engines can handle in a game that's already so incredibly complex. Yeah.
So when did the last one come out for it? Because I've heard Civilization come up in so many different conversations.
2017, 18 maybe?
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's been out for a minute. So there definitely needed to be a new one. Is that new Civilization dropping this year or is it next year?
Next year. And the thing with Civilization is they constantly releasing like new content for it, new expansions that actually are pretty fruitful. So while it might have released, in 2017, we'll say, the stuff that's followed up afterwards has kept it definitely, like, there are people, one of my friends strictly only plays Civilization 5 still because there are certain mechanics that feel better in 5 and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a whole area of the internet that's just hyped for that.
It's hard for me to say you should try it out because it is such a complicated game that, like, when you first get into it, I've tried to get Jonathan to play. You're just like, this game is so boring. Like, why do I care about taxing these people for agricultural states and stuff like that? I'm like, that's incredible. It's really that way. So it's like, very cool.
Do you think of the Roman Empire? You're like, yes, I think about Civilization at least once a week or 3 times a week.
I think about the Roman Empire aqueducts and how I can improve them. Yeah, kind of
exactly. Yeah.
What's a game that you wanted to talk about from the Summer Game Fest?
Dude, again, I only, and I don't know if they were at Summer Game Fest, but what's on my mind is things that were at the IGN Live.
Yes, I'm sorry. That is one thing is while, and it makes sense. IGN Live was very pro Xbox showcase. They were very quiet about the Summer Game Fest because it's a direct competitor. That's a great point. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. And I was so wrapped up in the event and talking to video game developers there and like seeing the like panels for new games coming out. I could tell you about those, but you tell me what you thought were the highlights of Summer Game Fest.
So I'll give you like 3 more from Summer Game Fest. First off, a game I think could pioneer something, but for now I'm not sure if it's ever actually needed, is the Lego Horizon Adventures. So Horizon Forbidden West, they're all beautiful games. There's a Lego version of that franchise coming out. And one of the things I ask myself is, Lego's a big IP. They generally will bind themselves to other IPs that are big, DC, Marvel, because there's so much in that library they could play with. Star Wars, yes. Yeah. But this one, there's not a lot of characters. The world is cool, sure, but that's basically where it ends. My hope for this is it's opening the doorway to maybe Lego just doing one-off games, maybe all PlayStation titles, because like Horizon's great, God of War's better. Could they do God of War next? Stuff like that. So maybe that's where this is going, but I thought it was an odd choice. Would you consider playing that game?
No, this is probably going to anger a lot of people. I tried playing the first Horizon game. It never really hooked me. I thought the start was a little slow. I know with the last one that came out, it blew people away. They loved it, right? And it was gorgeous. The monsters look cool. The main character is cool. But I don't know. I think because I didn't land on that first game, it didn't draw me into this one. But, hey, if you are somebody that has kids and you don't want them playing that one, maybe it's a gateway for them to get to, the new Horizon games. So, yeah, I mean, could be cool.
And it's a really good exploration into the story. Again, like great idea for like the family adventure game, because sure, there's things in Horizon that's way too intense for kids, but this it could be an exploration into it, and it's all about Gaia and Earth and balancing, taking care of the planet, and with technology and stuff like that. So there's definitely a message there that might be good to discuss later on. We'll have to see. Lego's taking a chance on this, and I mean, I think this is going to be a game that's going to be relatively cheap by the Black Friday sales.
Right.
That's probably when I'll grab it. We'll find out very quickly at that point.
Definitely.
Next game to discuss is the Batman Arkham Shadow. We had a teaser before. We got a lot more story now. We're going to be fighting the Rat King in this one, which Rat King has not been used in a Bat game ever. So that's pretty cool.
Wait, who's making this one?
It's an Arkham It's an Arkham Asylum game.
It's a Rocksteady.
Oh, it is Rocksteady. Yeah.
What? Oh my God! This for all the people that bought Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and were super let down by it, and we're hoping that was going to be because they did say that was going to be a continuation of the original Arkham series, and now you're announcing this game. Like, what are we doing, Rocksteady? Not saying I'm not mad at them getting it because I do want it, but it's also like, why did you even put out Suicide Squad? Like, was that purely? Yeah. It even more so feels like a money grab now that this game's getting launched, and it probably will have 3 paid DLCs and that's it. Where Suicide Squad's supposed to be that live service game, and it was terrible. Like, what are we doing?
I think Suicide Squad might be one of the last live service games of that model ever, because I think they learned their lesson pretty bad on that. But you want to get disappointed again? This is just for VR.
What? Oh my. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I don't even understand what Rocksteady's doing. They were like the king of single player action superhero game. I mean, like, put that Batman, those Arkham Knight games is like top tier.
Oh, of course. I think Spider-Man games. I think Crystal Dynamics now with Spider-Man games is replacing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would agree. And it's just, that's such a weird choice. All right. Maybe I'll get a VR. Probably not because I want the Xbox. I don't know.
I have one, and even I'm like, I'd rather just play that on the console or a computer. Come on now.
Okay.
Not a full game like that. They're fun for gimmicky fun games, but not for a full game like that. Come on.
Right.
Last 2 things I want to announce. Blumhouse Games, which I was always called Blumhouse, but it's Blumhouse. They're launching a game studio. They have 6 games coming down the pipeline now. They're smaller indie titles, but they're all going to be, of course, horror-based. And I think that this is a really cool acknowledgement from Hollywood, which Blumhouse is a smaller studio, of course. Acknowledgement from Hollywood that, like, video games is a way to tell stories, flush out stories and characters, and then you could reverse those into your like we sing The Last of Us and stuff like that, reverse those back into a series. So that's cool that Blumhouse is taking that chance. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think James Wan is a big part of Blumhouse, right? And we know him from is it like the Conjure series or Hereditary? One of those. Yeah, but then also of course Aquaman. Everybody knows it for Aquaman. So he's a fantastic storyteller. It's like now just take that and then put it into a game. I think it's gonna be sick. Because there was a big fan base for that Friday the 13th game where you're like trying to escape him from the fields and you have to work as a team. Too scary for me because I'm a wuss, but I saw that there was a lot of people playing it. I watched some streams of it. It looked fun. But I think it's a super smart move. There's a ton of horror fans out there that don't get serviced in the video game world.
Yeah, and the fact that there's a story-first company coming in with it, because there's games like Phasmophobia and stuff like that, phenomenal games, but there's no real story to that. This is where they're leading with the story, and that's when you can really like, you know what, this worked, that didn't work, let's develop this further. I think that's a good place to kind of workshop stories.
Yeah, super smart.
The last thing from the Summer Game Fest that I think you're going to be very excited for is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. This is straight up a Power Rangers Konami-like game. It's going to feel like those old TMNTs, that old Simpsons game. It looks so beautiful.
Wait, what? Is it a side-scroller or is it just like a team
side-scroller beat 'em up, man? Yep.
Wow. Hell yeah. That's awesome, dude. Okay, wait. So what type of animation are they going with? Are they going with more of like a cartoony look? Is it more of like a mixture, almost 3D-ish?
The cutscenes are all very cartoony. The combat, the actual gameplay is like it's from 93. It looks like it's 1993, but super smooth. Yeah.
Dude, yes. Okay. Hell yeah. I'm super on board with that. Yeah. I am getting to play different Rangers with their different weapons and maybe different power-ups. Like, that's going to be so fun. Nice. Dude. Okay. It's been a long time since Power Rangers, I feel like, has gotten really into the video game world. I know that there's been some fighting games that people kind of like, but it's still relatively underground. It's nice for them to, it's just right for a good game is I think what I'm trying to say. I am excited about this one.
And the fact that it's Rita coming back, it's actually the robotic Rita from like the later seasons. And nice. Goldar's back, which has always been my favorite of the bad guys. So I cannot wait to fight them again. That's going to be a blast.
That's going to be awesome. I love it.
All right. So that's closing up Summer Game Fest, guys. Again, every single trailer is on our website. Check that out. geekfreakspodcast.com and whatnot. Links in the description. Okay, let's head over to IGN Live. So we're going to go over the big announcements, but I want to know why you were there. Did you have a feeling for an announcement that they were trying to push as the big announcement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, day one was all about movies and shows, I would say. We
Hmm.
got the cast of Rings of Power. We got
Yeah.
the Critical Role cast. Matt Mercer was there talking
Yeah.
about season three of Legend of Vox Machina, which I love. I've talked to you about it a
Mhm.
lot. Actually, that sounds like a challenge all
It
the
does sound
way.
like one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it on Challenge Accepted. But I love that show, and I wasn't a D&D person. Scott on my other show, he loves it. He plays with his friends all the time, and
Mhm.
I haven't found a team or game, I guess, to jump into, but I've learned a lot about it from Scott. And it just is such a cool vibe. I've
It
watched
is.
some of the Critical Role videos just because I want to see them in character. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of famous actors, and it's just so fun.
Mhm.
And so to see them take that idea and then turn it into a show, and not just any show, not just a show, but a really good adult animated show on Amazon Prime. Man, it's been phenomenal. I love it. And so, yeah, I know that there was a push for that. There was a
Mhm.
push for a game that I got really hyped about, which was Phantom Blade Zero. It
Yeah.
looks super, super dope. It's kind of like a more Devil May Cry slash Ghost of
Ooh.
Tsushima kind of combined,
Yeah.
and the combat was just so smooth. You're able to use the environments, bounce off walls, slam them into things, but kind of using this Chinese mythology in the game.
Mhm.
We've gotten to see a lot of Japanese inspired games again. Ghost of Tsushima. There was one other one that came out recently, but that was more mystical. Well, this is more Chinese martial arts, and those weaponry and that mythology with like the lions and all that. It was really freaking cool. So I felt like that got a big push.
That is cool. Yeah, you showed a bit of that panel on our social medias, so make sure you guys follow along there. But yeah, that looked really cool. They also showed the trailer at IGN Live. They showed the trailer at Game Fest as well. That was a cool one. And then going back to Vox Machina, that the new season for that is October 3rd. That's the third season for that one. They had Matt Mercer there. What were some of the things they discussed about the development of that show?
Just that they're picking right up where the last one left off. We have our team kind of in different places, going in different directions, and it is based off one of the campaigns that they did online. So for those true fans who've been following forever, it's
Mhm.
that continued. It's like
Yeah.
you get insider knowledge of like maybe they're going to go this way or this is probably going to be happening. You just don't know exactly how it's going to happen because of what they have to do with the show. But
Yeah.
I love it. They were just so excited about it. They're so good with the crowd. They love the characters. They embody these characters. It's yeah. I was stoked. I can't remember too. They were doing something with the die, and they were like rolling this die, and that kind of led to the question. Again, so much has happened. I'm forgetting all
Yeah.
the little details, but people were pumped.
There's a lot
I
of
remember
strobing
that.
lights. I wouldn't be surprised if you straight up forget something with all those strobing
Yeah,
lights
yeah.
going on around you.
I'm sure I became epileptic. I don't know. I might have had a seizure for sure.
Yeah, it could have happened on that floor. Next up
Definitely.
is the Kitties animated. Sorry, Exploding Kittens animated series for Netflix is going to be an adult animation. I'm a big fan of adult animation. Coming out July 12th. This is going to be, of course, the famous board game Exploding Kittens coming to Netflix. I think Netflix they lost a lot of their adult animation, so they've been backfilling. They have canceled, unfortunately, some really good stuff, but
Mhm.
hopefully this does well. It's got the name recognition, so I think that's a good sign, probably.
Yeah, yeah. It looks pretty cool from what I saw of it. Which wasn't a ton, but it looks
Mhm.
fun. And like the things I saw, I was like, it's pretty funny. So I'm definitely gonna be tuning in.
Yeah. Another thing they revealed at IGN Live for that first day, especially, is The Thing Remastered. This is a 2002 squad-based survival horror game based off of
Mhm.
course, the 1982 movie that is unforgettable. And
Yeah.
so remastered, I'm hoping that that kind of brings fans into one of these classic horror stories. I'm a big fan of horror movies, not so much of horror games. So this might be
Right.
enough to get me to go play that horror game.
Yeah, I played one of the Thing games a long time ago, and it was super fun. It was so hard. It was
Mhm.
one of those games where you have to like craft things, and you find limited resources. You're not going to be able to just like spray and pray. You have to like conserve all of your resources. It was
Yeah.
really tricky, but it got me so much into that world. And I mean, it's a classic horror movie for a reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that this game kind of introduced me into it. Again, that sounds like something that should be a challenge, but that world is super, super interesting. And I feel like there's so many parallels in terms of it getting reference when you talk about Aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens has had some mildly successful games. It's had some pretty decently successful movies. Obviously, we're getting Romulus, I think, at the end of this year. So I think I put the Thing in that category. I'm definitely going to be checking out this game.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try as well. And I am definitely down to watch the Thing again. I think what
Mhm.
we could do for Challenge Accepted is we watch it and we both formulate opinions on who we think the Thing is at the end
Yeah.
and whatever, and go for that. And then we'll look it up on Reddit and see, because I know the director. Gosh, I can't remember his name for the life of me. John Carpenter. I know he says that, like, if you watch it closely enough, you actually know the answers. But yeah,
Right.
so it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch it double close then.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. And then lastly, we have a trailer for Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the same story, crew, everything like that from the recent movie Mutant Mayhem. Different animation, a much more easier animation for them to churn out. I think that this is going to be this generation's long-standing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I think, whether you like it or not, I do like it, but whether you like it or not is important if you want TMNT to stand the test of time, you know.
Yeah, man, I love that movie. Yeah, it was I put it up there for me. I know not for everybody, but for me, it's pretty close to that Across the Spider-Verse level. It's
Yeah.
so fun. The kids really feel like kids, putting them all in a room to record, and just making things kind of like modern and stuff. It
Yeah.
just was great. Like their dynamic is awesome. So that show, I'm so excited about it. Oh man, I
Yeah.
could give you TNT all day. And it's like everything that Seth Rogen touches, I feel like is fantastic lately.
Hmm.
So you're right. When we had this, we had Invincible. There's like another animated superhero show I think he's talking about. I know he got brought into Marvel to talk about something. I don't know if we know what that is yet, but yeah, I think he's doing a great job. More of that universe. I loved it.
Yeah. And then this series is going to lead to a sequel to the movies that's coming up in 2026. So,
Oh, nice. I didn't
yeah,
know that
it's
part.
all tying
Hell
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. It's kind of like what the Sonic franchise is doing with Knuckles. And
Exactly.
then it's going to lead in like Sonic 3.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So you're at the event. Let's get some highlights. What were some of your favorite parts from the event?
Oh man, yeah. Between just seeing how people were so hyped for the giveaways, that was cool. But then you walk into the other side, and there's just a video game room, and it was classic arcades along with a bunch of indie developers or small developers and games. And I tried it all. Like I tried so many different games, but me and my sister, who helped kind of video things and tag along, and was kind of the equipment person, we got to play just old school classic games. X-Men. I played Marvel versus Capcom versus her, Mortal Kombat. The different panels that they had, or I guess booths that they had in there, were so fun. If you tuned into the Geek Freaks, or I think Challenge Accepted social media, you got to see that we got to talk to some people from Hulu, and it really seems like Hulu is pushing, at least for this month, heavy into anime. Which,
Right.
lucky for me, I don't watch anime on Crunchyroll. I don't have that subscription, but I do have Hulu, and that
Yeah.
is where I'm watching all my anime. It's like they have Bleach,
Same,
you have My
actually.
Hero Academia. Yeah, yeah, and it just looked really cool. I think it's called Anime Hem, which is their like tagline for anime on Hulu. I thought that was a ton of fun, and there's just really cool games that aren't being addressed at the Summer Game Fest, or not going to be on the Xbox main stage, and being announced.
Right.
And there was a ton. There was like one called Magic Wand, and it's a side scroller, but it does really unique things with the wand. Like you choose where you want to throw it out, and then with a different button with the left trigger, you can kind of decide how you want to curve it up, and you can use it to step on, climb on, to shield you, to hold things from falling on you. It was just really, really unique. So I thought that was super fun.
That seems like a game where you could have like two people play. One person's the wand, one person's the actual person. That would be a really cool duo. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even ask them if it was two players or not, but you're right. As like a Contra situation, oh my God, that was so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of some other game. There was a racing game. The name's escaping me. I'll have to look it up. That was a ton of fun. Yeah, other than that, it just was alive. Everywhere
Yeah.
people are jumping on games. Oh, I played Squirrel with a Gun. I really, really, really want a Steam Deck, because they had Power Washer on the Steam Deck and
Yeah.
the Power Wash Simulator and Squirrel with a Gun. And both those games are so ridiculous, like so fun. They were awesome.
I got Power Washer on the VR. That's pretty great on the VR. when you're actually there, like, and then you're like, why am I not outside cleaning my car right now?
Yeah. I did have that feeling, but there's like, it's kind of Zen like.
It is. Yeah.
You
That's
do get in
definitely.
there. And it just like ticks so many boxes for me. There's like the percentage completion thing that
Yeah.
goes up the whole time. I'm like, okay, I'm at 95%. Where's that last 5%? And
Yeah.
yeah. So man, yeah, all the games in that room were a ton of fun. And yeah, really, they make me want to like drain my whole bank account. It was pretty wild.
That's dangerous. Oh, I know the Xbox One was that way for me for sure.
Yeah.
Looking at the way that they had the layout of the room, it looked like there was a lot of hands-on game playing. Do you feel like that was the case?
Totally, totally. And I think it was good, and it's something to maybe consider for next year. Hopefully, it's designed a little bit in a different way. Again, it was really awesome. There's so much good stuff there, but it was a little tricky to navigate through, I will say. And it was it wasn't always clear like what the game was. I will say, if you look at our videos and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think we did a good job of highlighting like this game is what we're playing here and this. But if you're just cruising through, you might end up at a console and just be like, I don't know what this game is. I'm just gonna play it. And that was really fun because you find different things. But it's also another reason why I'm not super clear on like every name, because I was walking up to things and just being like, all right, here we go, and then hopefully, and some they were really good about coming out and telling you what the game was about. But so I think that's something they'll probably look at maybe next year and maybe have bigger signage or something. And but it was just so many people everywhere just jumping on different consoles, controllers, getting right into a game, and that was so fun.
That's one of the things I've heard from many people now that went to IGN Live is the fact that this is a very good first step. There's a lot of things to build on. What were some of the things you think that they should improve looking forward to next year?
Yeah, definitely. There was a weird, not say weird, but there was an interesting flow of how you walk in, because for day one, it's fantastic. You get your badge, you get to walk down this cool tunnel, and it looks awesome in there. It's all black light, and everything's like popping, and then you end up at this like lighted tunnel thing, and then you step out of that, and left is the main stage. But come day two, it's like you've kind of done it, so you kind of bypass that, and then you go off to the side, and you just kind of walk down either pretty plain hallway, or you can walk through that video game hall that I was talking about. So yeah, day two, I mean, we were definitely there like on a mission, like we got to get to panels, we got to get to like this game. And so we weren't necessarily walking through that. So it was kind of a little interesting way of getting to the main areas, I could say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like some flow improvement probably. Like that's one thing that we see consistently, I think, going to BlizzCon, for example, is something that they're constantly trying new things with. Like this last BlizzCon, they really make sure the rooms felt separate so that you're walking into a world that's like, oh, this feels like a cathedral. I'm in Diablo now and stuff like that. So maybe something like that.
Totally. And it really shines a light on how well BlizzCon is set up, because it is so effortless to like, this room is this game. This room is this game. And granted, I know it's like, it's one developer, it's a bunch of different games, so it's a lot easier. Right. But just from like a flow perspective, from like a understanding what type of environment and what game that is, it is a little bit more concise and very clear for you instantly. Again, the clarity I think would be really helpful come next year, and seeing how people travel the floor is definitely something I think they're going to take into consideration. There was also a little bit of a trickiness, I will say, with some of the reception in there. We wanted to get things out as fast as possible, especially here at Geek Freaks. But it was tricky to get things posted or get things sent through. And Magic Box, again, is a fantastic venue. I think it's beautiful. I think they can do so much with it. But I think that, just again, flow and organizationally, and even maybe getting some Wi-Fi in there could really, could really amp up some of the things at the event.
Which is just going to help IGN in general, right? You want to be able to share what you see there, especially as these events, which this is definitely, as you were hearing along the floor, is like, this is just our first one. We're definitely going to grow on this. You want them to share the announcements that are made there. That's what makes the game pop, the area popping. So I think that'll probably be something that they address pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I think if they could do it, it's going to I think it really will just continue to get better and better. Like they had cool panels going on. They had great games going on. Like some of the things you even just talked about, like I was like, I didn't even get to see that because there were so many other cool things going on, or people to talk to. All the IGN hosts are going around. They're interviewing people. They're talking about their favorite games. They're playing games with fans. Like it's just so much going on. You can't do everything. It's like I've been to Coachella. Like you can't see every artist you want to see because there's so many different stages. They're all over the place, and you never know what you're going to stumble into. That's very much the case for this, and it's amazing. It feels lived in. It feels great. But I think it just gets better next year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to fill in that gap. The ESA, the E3 left behind with the Industry Insider event. This is less. I would like for this to be maybe a little less aimed towards the fans and more for the community to get together to discuss upcoming development stuff, you know?
No, you're so right. And I definitely got that vibe. There was a ton of fans and they were there nonstop. I'm not kidding, like 10 hours in line waiting for that giveaway. They had gift cards, they had hats, they had shirts, they had posts. It's so much stuff. And they were there for that. But a lot of people I ended up talking to just kind of randomly happened to be people in the industry, whether they were streamers, whether they worked for companies like 2K or NetherRealm or that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really cool. Or, you know, I talked to some people from Marvel or, you know, kind of there was a wrestler there, a Michin from WWE. Like there was a lot of industry people there. And so if you're looking to get into video game development, I talked to a script writer, I talked to a photographer. If you're looking to get into that industry, you should go for sure because you'll be able to connect with so many like-minded people who either have experience or trying to do the same things. And there's really that industry community development there. And that's just, you know, it's a ton of fun, but it's different than, you know, a BlizzCon or I don't know, I'm trying to think of or like a San Diego Comic-Con or DreamHack. Yeah.
Where they kind of had
example.
years to hammer it out and kind of figure out what vision they want to go for. It'll take time for IGN to do that. Yeah,
but DreamHack specifically, it really feels like it's for the fans, and BlizzCon feels like it's for the fans. You know, like this, like to your point earlier, is like it feels like there's a lot of industry insiders there, so you feel like you're in the know. You're like, man, things are moving and shaking at Xbox, things are moving and shaking at IGN, or through this development for the show. So, yeah, if you have interest there, definitely come to this event.
Well, speaking of moving and shaking at IGN, you had a little bit of a practice run for your hosting gig. How did that go?
Oh, that was great.
I loved it, man.
Oh, thank you. I felt like I blew it, but you know, I love those guys. I've watched some of their videos online and they have a great presence. They do the daily fix over at IGN. And so they were kind of letting everybody come on, or whoever wanted to go on and try out a segment. So I was like, hey guys, I don't want to do like something that you always do. I know that you've been sitting with somebody or standing with somebody actually and just reading the teleprompter. I was like, every other line, I want us to say a different line.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, was it hard.
Chaos.
And to see them laugh about it, and they're experts. They read everything perfectly. They're able to deliver everything perfectly. To see them kind of stumble and mess up, I was like, oh, okay. It's not just me. Like, okay, even the best of the best do this as well. So that was so fun. That was such a good time. And yeah, those guys are so cool. It makes me want to watch the show even more because they're so nice and they're so fun. So yeah, definitely have to check that out online.
That is cool. Yeah, and it's posted on all the social medias, guys. Make sure you follow everything. Link in the description. But I think that's about it. Thank you very much for heading to IGN Live and representing us on the floor. That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know IGN, but there's a lot of brand recognition, I could say, for Geek Freaks there. So you are listening to the right podcast. I think, tune in because, events like this they just make the brand, I feel like, so much more lived in. And also, like, because of all you listening, we get to do stuff like this. So one, thank you all out there. And two, thank you, Frank, and the rest of the Geek Freaks family, because it was such a cool event. And definitely want to do more of this in the future.
Yeah. And thank you to IGN for inviting us. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to see how this event grows. And it's an open secret amongst us. We talk about it all the time, but the fact that we always kind of compete, jokingly, of course, competing with IGN, like, oh, we beat IGN to this, we beat IGN to that. And it's because they have such a high standard and they put themselves up there so much that when we can possibly glimpse that close, we're very excited about it. So to be able to be invited to this event and then be able to talk to some of the cool people there and then like I'm on the email front and stuff like that. It's been really fun. So thank you guys for inviting us out, and we'll see you next year.
It's like healthy competition built out of jealousy. Because of the quality.
Okay, so let's end off with some network news, guys. We have a phenomenal interview coming out this Friday, all about the Golden Trailer Awards. I really loved it. It was a good deep dive into some industry stuff. We have new Acolyte coverage from the Challenge Accepted that's coming out tomorrow. And what else do we have? Oh, that's about it. Yeah, actually, because the other ones are coming out next week. So that's it for this week. You guys are lucky. We got an easy one for you.
Yeah, definitely. We have The Boys. We have House of the Dragon. We have The Bear at the end of the month. We are so busy over at Challenge Accepted. But if you're watching any of those shows, please come join in with us and have fun and hang out. And and follow us on the socials and we'll connect with you guys because we definitely want to hear what you have to think about it.
Absolutely. We're loving threads and we're still checking in every so often on Twitter and stuff like that. So come hang out.
Yeah.
The last tweet I put out for Challenge Accepted did quite well. I was like, oh, hey, look, people still use this app. That's good to know.
Wow. Surprising. I definitely don't. So it's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.